Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software and your host on the Virtual Summit podcast. We are in for a treat today. I'm super excited for today's episode. We're going to be taking a step back in the past, and we're going to be looking at some of the ways that summits used to be hosted and breaking some of that down because, I say this quite a bit, but a lot of you summit hosts, you really don't know how great you have it right now. So we're going to break some of that down. And we are lucky as ever to have legendary Cheryl Moses here with us. Thanks, Sheryl, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Mark. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I am so excited for this episode. We're going to be taking a deep dive into your brain and some of the summits that you've created and hosted and the trajectory of those and how they've evolved. We're going to be looking back at an actual telesummit. I mean, this is crazy. I'm so excited to dig into that. Now, before we jump down into those kind of summit goodies that we're going to be talking about, I would love for you to just take a brief moment and let our summit hosts know just a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you having me on the podcast. Thank you for having me. I am Cheryl Moses. I help you with your brand clarity. I help you build your email list, a targeted email list, and sell premium offers. And with the email list building, I really help you to create a signature summit so that you can build credibility in your industry and really set yourself up for success and for the longevity of your business. So that's where I'm at now. And I love helping my clients to really just get clarity on where their brand stands and gain visibility and momentum that they need to really pull in clients and make revenue. So that's where I'm at.
That's just phenomenal. Now, before we even go diving into the summits and the aspect of the summits that you've created. So you just mentioned there, you help your clients get brand awareness, brand clarity through summits. So have you found, give us some insights into that. How have you found summits to be as far as creating that kind of brand awareness, that clarity?
Well, yeah, I think summits really help you position yourself in the marketplace differently than anything else, because not only are you building your email list, but you're actually building your visibility, your momentum, and you're positioning yourself as an expert in front of people that may have never even heard of you. And so when you put on summits and you're interviewing all these experts who have already established brands, it's kind of like you're co-branding. And, even just off of that, you become somebody that looks really important and really looks like you know what you're doing. And so, like I said, if people don't know who you are, I think summits are a great way to get in front of your target market so that you can sell your programs, your products and services, and continue to build your email list so that you can keep doing that overall, for the long term of your business.
And you've had some experience with summits now. You've been running summits for a while. What have you kind of seen a shift in that or a change in that? How has that changed as far as the brand awareness and exposure from maybe from the first summit you ran to now? What have you kind of seen as far as some of the changes or differences?
I think, from the first summit was actually a telesummit. I did it 6 years ago, and that was one that I did over the phone. I think I actually liked doing the telesummit over the phone, the audio version, because it really, first of all, you get to pre-record and you get to set it up as if it's a live broadcast.
Virtual Summits software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summits software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
So, doing it that way versus doing it now where you have the live video, it's really a big difference. But I think with the video part of it, it's more, how can I say? It's just, you just really interact with your audience a little bit more than you would with the telesummit, because you get to really, they get to engage with you, put it like that. They get to engage with you more with the video versus the audio, because you're not you're not really, you don't really have the audience there to know who's there watching you, like you do with the video. So it has transitioned a lot. It's, the only thing I would say is really a big difference is like the technical part of it and setting it up. So there's a lot of moving pieces with a telesummit, of course. And I think that virtually it's a lot easier than it was with the actual telesummit part. I can say that. Virtually is a lot easier now with the video.
Well, yeah, we were just chatting our pre-interview chat. I mean, about really how easy summit hosts have it now. How complex and challenging it used to be, and we have things like the virtual summit software and other softwares out there that just make it so much easier. Now, having never run a telesummit before, I would love to kind of dig into that. I just want to understand that process, how it was done, and kind of what went into it. So take us back to that moment when you were starting out on your telesummit. Let's say you've already got the experts who've agreed to do it. How do you figure out how to do that? How did you find out, what do I even use? Did you record something in advance? How did you use to stream it? Take us back through some of those processes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was really a process. Well, after I got my experts, we had to set up a time to record. So what we did was we pre-recorded. I used Instant Teleseminar, and what we did was I would pre-record all my interviews, and then I would set them up to go out at a certain time on a certain day as a live broadcast. And so that wasn't too difficult, but I also had to provide my experts with the tools that they needed to promote. I had to keep in contact with my experts. I had to make sure that, that they were going to show up for the interviews and everything like that, because I was doing everything myself. But I think that for the most part, getting the landing page set up, getting the funnel set up, actually, for the emails to go out, because I did two summits a day for the whole week. And so I had to do that. And I think for the most part, going through those processes really made me a more confident person in what I could do for my own business and my own brand. I always tell people that first summit taught me so much, not really just from learning from the experts, but just my confidence alone. Because I was interviewing all these people. I had never done an interview in my life. I had 0 people on my email list, and I went into the thousands on my email list just from doing this summit. But the main thing was really communicating with the experts and just building that relationship with them. And I think that's a part that people miss, because even after the summit, you can continue to build a relationship with these experts, and you'll have other opportunities as well. Summits position you to have speaking opportunities. They position you for so much. You can make extra revenue with summits, with products and services. It's so many things that you can get from a telesummit. But that first summit really positioned me to say, hey, I can really do this. And I went on to do 2 more summits after that. So because, my confidence was so, just went through the roof, actually. But I think, I know you got to think it's like a dinosaur age with that first telesummit, because it was over the phone. But I really like audio summits. I really do. Because I think that for certain people, I think it really just depends on your audience. Because if you have an audience and people are really busy and they're trying to, just doing that audio, it can really be an intimate thing as well as the video. But it just really depends on your audience, I think, or how they want to receive information.
I completely agree with you there. And I'd like to ask about this with the audio. So you said that you really enjoyed using the audio and that you found it, worked well with your audience. How did the engagement work? Like, how did you create engagement around that telesummit? Were there some outside activities that you did outside of the summit, or was there a Facebook group? Like, how did you create engagement through the telesummit?
I really did. I really didn't create any engagement. I did get some feedback from people who emailed me about it. And I went on to just really connect with my audience that I had built with my email list. So there was really no outside connection with it. Versus with the virtual summit, it was really the same thing, but people were engaging with us as we were, talking now on video. So it was better. It really was better because you get to answer questions and things of that nature, and really just kind of engage with your audience, interact with them. It's really a lot better with the virtual. I will say that. But I do like the audio.
Yes.
I'm not biased.
Well, and I like that, it's different. And there are a lot of people out there, that they want the audio. They're busy. They don't have the time to sit and watch the video. So I do think, there's the power in both. And we see that a lot with summits now that include the download, or they make it a part of the all access pass, et cetera. So let's fast forward then. You've run 3 summits. The third one, the most recent one that you ran, like you said, was a virtual summit. But it wasn't just pre-recorded, right? We would tell us about this summit, how it was different from your other telesummits.
Yes, this summit was different. It was a little more difficult for me because I did three interviews per day for I think 5 days straight, 5 to 6 days straight. I did three interviews per day, and so sometimes experts wouldn't show up. So then it's like, what am I supposed to do in that slot? So that was one of the things that was difficult. And also, like we discussed earlier, the technical difficulties. I needed a faster internet speed, which is really, really important. So make sure, if you're going to do a virtual summit, have your internet speed really high speed so that, you don't really have a lot of audio breaks in the audio and stuff like that. And that was really the only difference that I saw was with just the experts, having stuff come up at the last minute and they just couldn't show, and I really didn't have a backup plan. So that's, so I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now, And so, but I just went on with it. If I didn't have anybody to fill that slot, I just kind of went on with the next one, and that was it. That's all I could do. The show must go on.
Exactly. Yeah, the show must go on. So clarify here, you ran this one as a live streaming summit. So it wasn't pre-recorded, live streaming. So what did you do when, let's say, one of the speakers didn't show up? What was there just a break or a pause in it, or did you fill the gap? Like, what did you do during that period?
It was just a break and a pause. Yeah. I would send an email out saying that, I wouldn't be on at this time because expert. And then I would just go on to the next one, and I would just tell them what was going to be on the next one at 5 o'clock or whatever time it was, But I just kept it real. I couldn't really get anybody and pull them in, at the last minute. Like I said, I just didn't have a backup plan. So I think that, if I did another virtual summit, I would probably have some kind of backup plan to fill those gaps in just in case that happens again, because a lot of that stuff is last minute. Like somebody say, oh, something happened with my kids or something this or something that. Things come up, life happens, and I get it. If you can't show up, you can't show up. So yeah, I think that's what I would do differently. The next time is just have something to fill in those gaps if that happens.
So maybe like your own presentation that you could enter in,
Right.
or potentially have a secondary speaker that's just kind of ready on call. Like if you hey, jump in there. Cool.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. I'd like to dig into the process. You were just saying, you would send out an email and say that this session wasn't going to happen. Like, how did you set that up? How many days was this virtual summit? And how many sessions did you have? Did you have it at certain times? And yeah, how did you communicate it? So just walk us through the actual technical aspects of that.
Okay, yeah. So I had this summit for I believe it was 6 days straight. I had 3 per day. So I would send an email out in the morning and I would say, this is the schedule for the summit for the day. And I would send out another email after the summit was over for the replay and for them to for the audience to be able to get the free gift, because that's what most of my summits have been. The experts would give a free gift out at the end, and so I had the link to that. And so I did that every single day, and I just gave them the agenda. I even had it on the landing page. Here's the agenda for each day, each time. So there was no mix up with that. And so I did that the whole time for the 6 days, and I would give a replay period as well. So I sent out an email for that, for the replay period. And so at the end of the summit, it was just kind of like a wrap up, of everything, and let everybody know where the videos will be available.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your virtual summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
Did you have, how many sessions would you have during the day? Each day? 3 sessions?
Yeah, 3 sessions.
Like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening type of deal?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were pretty much full on with this for 6 days then, huh?
I was busy. Yeah, I was busy and tired. Yes.
So let's dig into that a little bit, because I think that's important for summit hosts to understand. I mean, even if you're doing a pre-recorded summit, it still takes time and energy and work. So how did you set up, your business and your life for that week to take on this kind of summit? Did you have any, walk us through how you scheduled your week for that summit?
I kind of just jumped into it. The whole summit is something I actually just jumped into. Normally, and I'll tell you this, with the first summit, it took me April and May to do my pre-recorded interviews, and then I put the summit on in July. This summit, I actually said, okay, in the beginning of March, I'm doing a summit. I got the experts on it, and 2 weeks later, we're doing the summit live. So that was also a big difference. In the 2 summits, in the telesummit and the virtual summit, So with this summit, I kind of just said I was going to do it, and I jumped right into it. I just did it. I don't even know how I got through it. I really don't, because I was really tired. I wasn't used to that type of thing. And I said, this is something new, but I'm going to do it. It may be a challenge, but I'm going to get through it. And it really was a challenge, because it was 3 times a day that I had to get on here, and if somebody didn't show up, it was like, okay, well, I have a break. But, still for the whole week, it was like, wow. So, I think with my first summit, being able to pre-recorded everything, that kind of made it easier too, because if somebody didn't show up, they could reschedule, and I could get I can still get the interview, so that's kind of a difference too. You're not dealing with that type of thing with the virtual summit. So
it's very true. So what you mentioned that at the end of the day, you'd send out a link or an email with the replays, and you would have the free gifts. So you had each speaker had the ability to kind of give something like a free gift, an opt-in, a lead magnet, something like that. Did you just put them all together and send them out from the 3 people from each day? And what was kind of the feedback you got from the attendees or the audience?
Yeah, that's exactly how I did it. Instead of sending out separate emails, and having so many emails go out, I kind of just gathered it all up and said, here are the free gifts for the experts that, went on today. And I just did that at the end of the day. And, like I said, at the end of the week, I just had a wrap up of everything. So I just didn't want a whole bunch of emails. I just didn't want to flood everybody's inbox with a whole bunch of emails. And so I kind of just grouped it together that way. And people actually liked it like that. They didn't have a problem with that because, they had all the information right there. It wasn't like they had to sift through emails and all that crazy stuff. So it was good. That was a good way of doing it, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's people don't necessarily want more emails in their inbox right now. So I can see that. Now, out of the 3 summits, like choose whichever one was the most successful. What do you think was one of the main contributing factors to the success of that summit?
I think my first one was the most successful. That first telesummit was the most successful because, like I said, if an expert didn't show up, I could still get the pre-recorded interview at a later date. It was fine because I took a couple of months, to interview people before putting on the broadcast. I took April and May to interview and then put the broadcast on in July. I think June too. I think I interviewed in June as well. So that was I think that made it successful. I think the experts themselves made it successful. I think with that particular summit, I had experts who had well-established brands. And it wasn't really like that for the other 2. I think that made a big difference. I mean, we're talking, 6 and 7 figure. We're talking Christy Whitman. We're talking. So I had really, really established branded people on that summit, and so I think it was more of a serious summit to them and to me. What I was shocked at it was that they were willing to help me, and even though I wasn't known, this was like my first time ever like really being out there. Nobody really knew who I was, but they were all willing to help me. And I think that a lot of people don't really want to reach out to people like that big, those 6 and 7 figure high earners because they're scared. But it's like, don't be scared because they're willing to help you. They really are. So I think that was my most successful one. They promoted like they were supposed to promote. I didn't have a problem with that. My other 2 summits, they really didn't promote that well. So it didn't really benefit me or them. It got us, in front of people, but they didn't really promote like they should have. So it was like, I don't know, like the quality just wasn't there in the last 2 summits versus that first one.
What's something you think you could have, if you were doing it again, you could do to help improve getting the speakers to promote or getting them kind of on board?
I think more communication with them. I think with my last 2 summits, I really didn't communicate as much as I did with the first summit, with the experts. So I think if I communicated with them more, I think that may have helped, but I'm not sure. I really don't know what I could have done differently to make them understand that promoting is really beneficial here. Like, this is what you need to do. Because I had an agreement set up, they had to sign an agreement. Their agreement was to promote a solo email and this, that, and the third, but a lot of them did not do that. I saw them promoting on social media, but mailing that solo email to their list, I don't believe they really did that. I keep track of everything. I keep track of the clicks. You get a link, I give you a special link, and I keep track of all the clicks that you get. And some of them didn't have any clicks, so I knew they weren't promoting. So you notice those things. And why they didn't, I can't tell you why. I don't know. I really don't.
And that is one of the challenges we're seeing right now with summits is getting the speakers on board. We always, we see a lot of social promotion, but social media just doesn't drive the opt-ins the way, like you said, an email actually will. So it's really, really important to build those relationships and get speakers that are kind of on board. So what's something, looking at your summits and looking at, just summits in general at this point, what's something you think that would be super important for summit hosts to know right now, for example, that are going to be doing their first summit? Like, what's an important factor that they should know as they're getting ready to set on that journey to hosting their first summit?
I think that basically have some direction with the summit. Make sure you have a theme. Make sure you have, what your goal is for the summit. And make sure your experts know too. Have that agreement in place. Make sure, everybody signs the agreement. That's one of the things too. Some people didn't sign the agreement, but yeah, make sure you have the agreement in place. Make sure you have just all the moving pieces together, your landing pages, any graphics that you need, make sure they're high quality. Don't skimp on anything. Make sure everything looks, because that can honestly make or break your summit too. As far as people opting in, if they don't like how your page looks, they may not, what is this? They may not want to opt in at all to your summit. So make sure that's up to par, and really just communicate with your experts. Make sure they know how important it is for them to promote. By all means, that's the whole point of this summit, is that they need to promote. So that's something that I would tell people if they're gonna host it for the first time. Just make sure that all your ducks are in a row.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
Yeah.
Super important. And let's kind of switch gears just a little bit, since we've got your expertise, your mind here with us for a little bit longer. Let's talk a little bit with branding and clarity around their brand. The summit host is getting ready to do a summit. One of the things I've seen kind of happen with summits is they're not super clear. Their messaging's not always clear. Their branding's not clear. So what's maybe a tip that you could give to our summit hosts out there that are getting ready to do their summit, when they're coming up with what's their theme going to be, maybe what's their messaging or who their avatar is? What's maybe some advice you could help them on sorting that out?
Oh, you mean as far as you're not talking about the topic, are you? Are you talking about
it could be their topic, it could be their theme of the summit, it could be the messaging. We just see a lot of times we see summit hosts go a little too generic or too broad, or just picking something that they think is important. So I just want to tap into your expertise here as a brand expert. What's something that you would give them some advice when clarifying either their summit or their brand?
Oh yeah, that's a mistake that I made in my first summit. I went too broad. And so, and I just want to say really quickly, if you do go too broad, you'll get a whole bunch of people on your email list that really don't want what you have to offer. So that's why it's important to know what your positioning is, and like you said, what your messaging is, because you really want to get experts that have your audience. You don't want to just get any expert that you can get, because that's not going to be conducive to you growing your brand at all. It's just not going to work. So I would say just make sure that you know your messaging first. Get that clear first. If you don't, get some help with getting clear on that whole thing, because it's really going to tie into your overall business, as a whole. And when you're growing your email list, you want to present offers to people that want to buy what you have. And that's just the whole thing. That's how you put this thing all together. If you're not clear on your messaging, then they're not clear either. So if you're confused, everybody else is going to be confused too. And then you won't profit at all. That's just the bottom line to it. So, like I said, that was the first mistake I made. I went really broad. I just had a whole bunch of people on there because I was excited. I think that's what it was, Mark. For real. I think I was just so excited. And when it got down to it, I was like, wow, I built this list and now people don't really want what I have, because it's just different people. It's like so many different people that have different needs. And some of these needs I don't have solutions for, So yeah, it's super important that you get clear on that first and foremost before you even think about doing the summit. You have to.
So true.
Oh,
so true.
Goodness.
Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal information, Cheryl. We've got a few minutes left here. I'd kind of like to wrap this up by having you, share a final parting piece of wisdom with our summit hosts, something that they just need to know that's going to help them as they prepare for their next summit.
Well, if you're preparing for your next summit, definitely get some help. Like I said, I did my stuff on my own, and it was just a lot of moving parts, and it was frustrating at that time. So definitely get some good help, somebody that knows what they're doing, and that they can really just keep your mind at ease. If you can get somebody to handle all those moving parts and you just show up for the interview, great. If not, get somebody to do half the work and then you do the other half, or however you want to do it. But just really get some help. Make sure you have your messaging is clear, your theme is clear, your topics are there, and just convey that to your experts and let them know how important it is for them to promote and how important it is for them to show up. And if they can't show up, give them a time period as to what they can let you know. Listen, if they can't show up, give them a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of days to let you know I can't show up. This is if you're doing a virtual summit, because you need to be able to fill that slot in with something, even if it's your own presentation. So, just kind of make it easier for yourself. Don't make it harder, because it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't.
So true and so good. Well, Sheryl, thank you so much for this. I know our audience right now, our summit hosts are going, Mark, how can I get more of Sheryl? I want to follow her. I want to be able to reach out to her. So where's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Sheryl? Where are you hanging out with, and anything else that you'd like to let them know?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn a lot lately. I'm just kind of hanging out over there. At Cheryl J. Moses over there, but anywhere else on social media, I'm CJ Moses Biz. So that's my handle. Anywhere else, and you can find me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too. So yeah, definitely reach out and let's connect.
Absolutely. So everybody head over there, go hang out with Sheryl on social. You'll be able to get access to all of the links that she was just talking about over in the show notes at podcast.virtualsummits.com/124. And Sheryl, I just want to say thank you again for spending this time with us and giving us some of your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you, all you summit hosts, for spending this time with Sheryl and I. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, your host here on the Virtual Summit Podcast. And just remember, your message matters. So go out there, make an impact in the world. Don't forget to check out all the information we just talked about on this episode and more over at the show notes at podcast.virtualsummits.com/124. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.